And now I would like to invite up our keynote speaker and truly a very special guest here tonight, Dr. Howard Fuller. Dr. Howard Fuller has been called one of the most powerful educators in America, and it's true. He was featured in the celebrated documentary Waiting for Superman. He is a truly dynamic and inspirational speaker, movement leader, organizer, and currently heads up the Institute for the Transformation of Learning at Marquette University, as well as the Black Alliance for Educational Options. He's also the former superintendent of Milwaukee Public Schools. Dr. Fuller is on a mission to revolutionize education in America. For over 30 years, he has championed the right of parents to choose a quality education for their children, especially those residing in underserved communities. If you will, please welcome Dr. Howard Fuller.
First of all, good evening. I want to apologize ahead of time because I've been having trouble with my voice, and I really stopped talking about 3 days ago. So tonight is the first night in 3 days I've actually talked, so I'm surprised that I can talk. So, but I do appreciate being here, and I want to thank Anita and Corey for all the work that they did to get me here. And I also want to thank all of you all for being here. Before I get started, though, there is a commercial. And that is, as some of you all know, I'm in a war with a friend of mine to see who can get the most followers on Twitter. So I just want to give you my handle. It's Howard L. Fuller, no shame whatsoever. So, and if you want to tweet while I'm talking, that's all good too. So, either way. So, I do though want to begin by thanking all of the parents and all the young people for being out here tonight. I know you could be somewhere else, so I want you to know I deeply appreciate the fact that you're here. And I'm here because I believe that our children are our most precious gift from God. And that it is our responsibility, with God's guidance, to love them, to nurture them, to care for them, and to make sure that every single one of them is educated. But the question for us tonight is why? Why is it important for our kids to be educated? And I would argue for two reasons. Number one, because there is no way that they can make today and their future without an education.
No way.
But the second reason is that education is the pathway to freedom. And Martin Luther King Jr. said that freedom is, first of all, the capacity to weigh alternatives, to look out from amongst what's possible, and then to make a decision. And then once you make that decision, then you take the weight for the decisions that you make. And so that at the end of the day, education is about freedom. But if you live in America, the only way you can actually realize freedom is to gain some level of economic independence. And you cannot make it in America economically, for most of us in this room, without a job. And you're not going to get a job without an education. And I want you all to know that I understand that education is more than just get a job. Paulo Freire in Pedagogy of the Oppressed said that the purpose of education is to prepare our young people to engage in the practice of freedom, which means to engage in transforming their world. But in America, you don't transform anything unless you can get into the game. And you're not getting into the game in America without an education. And when you look around this room, the tragedy is, we look at all of these young people, and right now, if we looked at the statistics, we could take half of them and put them over there, and half of them and put them over there, and tell one half of them, you're not going to make it. How can this be in America? How can this be because you're black and you're brown, that we can look at you in the 3rd grade and tell you you're not going to make it? This is criminal that this is happening. But what's most criminal about it is we accept it. And as a black person, I think about on February 1st, 1960, 4 students sit down at a lunch counter in Greensboro, North Carolina, and demand to be served. And here we are in 2013. 4 students sit down at a lunch counter where they're welcome and can't read the menu. And I have to ask myself, how did this happen? And you can't blame it on our children. You have to blame it on us, on the adults, on black adults, brown adults, who every day accept what our children should never have to deal with. Y'all think about it. We go to all kinds of meetings and we talk, we call on the radio, but when it comes time to make a change, you can't find us. So what our children is experiencing is our fault. And unless we're going to change, it's not going to change. And so why is this important for every one of you all in this room? Because as parents, as educators, as community activists, as business people, as clergy, we must begin to demand that change happens not in the future, now. And the one thing that I've learned about America is that most people in America want change as long as don't nothing change. Bravo. We all for change until it means that something got to be different. And that those people who got it got to give some of it up. Because I always hear people talk about, oh, we're going to have a win-win strategy. How the hell is it going to be a win-win strategy when somebody got everything and others ain't got nothing? How does that work? The reality is that we who have nothing got to take something from those who got everything. And if you're not prepared to fight, if you're one of these scared Latinos and black people, then y'all should have left right after y'all got through eating. Because the reality of it is, our children, when you read a statistic that says that white 8th grade students in America read and do math at a level higher than black and Latino high school graduates. Because the reality is, a lot of us going to go to these celebrations for high school graduation. And we all going to be jumping up and down and taking pictures when a whole bunch of these kids can't read, can't write, can't think, can't compute, can't analyze. So we got 2 problems. 50% of us not even making it to graduation. And then those of us who are making it, there's a whole nother percentage that can't read and can't write. And this is America. This is America that we're talking about. You know how it is when these black and Latino and these white politicians. Yeah, these white politicians and these bougie Negro and Latino politicians too. You know how it is when they come to your church and they all roll up in there talking about it take a whole village to educate a child. First of all, most of them don't know where the village is, couldn't find the village with MapQuest. And I'm tired of this village. So I'm going to give y'all another parable to think about. And I got it out of Thomas Friedman's book, The World is Flat. He said that every day in Africa, a gazelle gets up. And a gazelle knows that if it can't run faster than the fastest lion, it's going to get killed. Every morning the lion gets up, knowing that if it can't run faster than the slowest gazelle, it's going to starve. Either way, when the sun comes up, they both start running. And the reality is, in this world today, when the sun comes up, young people all over this world are running. And they're running faster than our best young people. So if they're running faster than our best young people, what chance are our kids going to have who can't read, can't write, can't think, can't compute? No chance. That's how much chance they're going to have. No chance. And I tell our kids all the time at our school that education promises you nothing in America. But I will guarantee you, you will have nothing without an education.
Absolutely.
Y'all got to think about this world we living in. You pick up your cell phone and you call to you want something. And you think you talking to some dude named Bob in Des Moines. No, you talking to Rajiv in Bangalore, India. They got 250,000 people who don't do nothing but answer the phone. The world that these kids are going to have to deal in is totally different from what many of you all have thought about. Do you understand what they're going to have to do in order to make it? I mean, I tell our young people all the time, you think you cute. Two things. First of all, you ain't as cute as you think you are. And second, it ain't gonna last forever. Trust me. But the reality of it is, it ain't about being cute. It's about what you got up here. And if you empty up here, you're not gonna make it in this world. These people don't care about you. They want to know, what can you bring to the table? So the reason why y'all here tonight is because if we don't fight harder, many of these kids, many of these young people you see here, they're never going to make it. And you say that's a cold thing to say? Hell, it's a cold world. And if we don't prepare them for the cold world that they're going to be dealing with, it's going to be a shock to their system. And let me tell you something. The reason why it's important for you to be here, because the kind of change we need ain't going to come out of Washington. And it ain't going to come out of Sacramento. It's going to have to come out of communities that you live in.
Make it plain.
And it's going to have to come because you got the courage to stand up.
Make it plain.
And I want to be real clear. We need more than just a reform. We need a revolution. We need a revolution in our thinking, in our practice, in the whole way that we approach this whole education thing. And so we need you all to get a whole lot madder. You know, when people ask me, to come and speak, they want to know, why you such a mad Negro? Why you so mad? You know why I'm mad? I'm mad because I know what's happening to our kids. But what I'm even madder about is we ain't mad. That we ain't mad. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we know about every show on TV. Y'all scandaling back. Y'all got scandal parties. Y'all got all of this, and our kids can't read. and you got your face glued to a TV screen looking at Scandal. And I ain't mad at you. I look at it too. But that can't be our whole life. We got to get out from in front of these televisions or whatever it is we looking at. And we got to start fighting for our children. And let me tell you what this fight is about. People say to me, they mad at me because I support choice. Yeah, I support choice. Because I don't believe that the only people in America who got choice are people with money. Let's be really clear. If you got money in America, you got choice. Because if schools don't work for your kids, what you gonna do? You either gonna move to a community where they do work, you're gonna put your kids in private schools, or you're gonna get the best tutors that you can find, or you're gonna do all three. The only people in America who don't have choice are low-income and working-class people. You got people teaching in schools they would never put their own kids in, demanding that your kids stay there. You know why they want you to stay there? So they can get paid, so they can put their kids in private schools. Yeah, I said it. And people say, well, you against public education. No, y'all don't understand. The Los Angeles school district is not public education. It's a delivery system for public education. Public education is a concept. It's an idea. And the reality of it is that you can have different delivery systems. The Los Angeles public school system is only one delivery system. And since it wasn't made by God, we can get some different ones. I mean, the fact is that delivery system does not work for many of our children. Is that not a fact? People say, oh, I want a smaller classes. Hell, go to any high school in February. You got small schools and small classes because half the kids are gone. We have got to find new and different ways to educate our children. This is the 21st century. This is not the 20th century. We need new ideas, new institutions, new concepts. And let's be clear. Anytime I talk like this, some black people get mad at me and some brown people get mad at me. And that's okay. Because everybody needs to understand that school systems are economic enterprises as much as they are educational enterprises. And it's about jobs. It's about jobs. And I'm clear about that. But I just want people who getting paid to educate our children. Is it asking too much? And I know people say to me, well, you know, Howard, I could do a better job if I had better kids. And it took me a while to get it. I understand all you parents out there, y'all done send us your worst kids. And you keeping your best kids at home, waiting to see how well we do with your bad kids. And if we do okay with your bad kids, then maybe y'all gonna send us your good kids. And for all you teachers out there who say it's the parents' job to educate the kids, then hell, let's give the parents the money. I mean, let's be real. The reason why we have educational institutions is to educate kids. It is not a parent's responsibility to educate kids. It's the parent's responsibility to give kids the foundation. But the reality of it is that for many of our children, that foundation is not there. And we're going to have to figure out a way to educate them when they get to us. So my friends, I just want to say a couple things to you that I'm going to sit down. It's very, very important that we understand that not only do we have to change schools, but we also have to change what happens to kids before they ever get to a school. And I just want to talk about two elephants that are always sitting in rooms like this. One elephant is called race, and another elephant is called class. And I know young people tell me that we're in a post-racial America. Now, I don't know what that means. I guess y'all know what it means. I don't know what it means. In my world, race still matters in America. But as much as race matters, class matters even more. And I'll tell you why. Look, nobody will tell you that money don't matter unless they got money. Only people with money will say something as idiotic as money don't matter in America. The reality is money does matter. It makes a big difference in terms of what our children's life chances are going to be. You know it, and I know it. And so let's be real about what we're confronting out here. Children who are hungry cannot learn. Kids who come to school abused and neglected cannot learn. We got kids who ought to get a medal just for showing up at school every day. And so we got to fight to change the conditions that impact our children before they ever get to us. But I'm going to tell you, my friends, all of us who are educators, once they get to us, there's a difference between understanding what happened to them and using it as an excuse not to educate them. And I want to say something about all of y'all, and I'm one of them, who talk about no excuses schools. No excuses schools are not the same as no empathy schools. Because for you to say it doesn't matter what happened to kids before they get to us is idiotic. It does matter. But once they get to us, we're going to overcome what it is they're dealing with. But be clear, my friends, schools alone cannot take our kids to where they need to be. All right. And so we must fight for a just society. We must fight for a different America than what we have today. We must fight for the promise of America. Because look at this room. There's a lot of people who have not yet recognized that you in this room is what America looks like. They still think it's the America of the 1930s. It's now beginning to dawn on them, hell, especially in a place like LA, what the new America looks like. And if we the new America, then we got to demand our rightful place in this new America. And we got to demand better for our children. And so I leave you with two things. Ron Edmonds, many years ago, said we can, whenever and wherever we choose, educate all children whose schooling is of interest to us. We already know more than we need to know to accomplish that task. Whether or not we do it must finally depend upon how we feel about the fact that we have not done it so far. All right. And the second thing I want to leave you with is something that a man named William Daggett said. He said that we must love our children's hopes, their dreams, their aspirations, and their prayers more than we love the institutional heritage of the school system. All right. And I say to you, my friends, our children are our most precious gift from God. Amen. And it is our responsibility, with God's guidance, to love them, to nurture them, to care for them, and to make sure that every one of them is educated. God bless you.